I was so happy once again to receive that kind of proposal because it was something that in one way to another I was in my dream to make a movie about Caravaggio. For the reason that I mentioned to you before, I never had the chance to really have a period of time specifically that I can really study, research, and try to understand the psychology, the creativity of this kind of character. Why he reached that kind of level to do this kind of painting than no any other painter did before. And later he had a lot of followers. Though after Caravaggio, many painters took his own first idea and tried to emulate his own vision. To have in painting, they have this kind of relationship in a conflict way sometimes between light and shadows. So we finally that we have those great chance. Once again, the idea is the fact that if you dream about something, if you believe in something, if you love something, sooner or later it's going to happen. Because we are going forward. We're making the will that those kind of things is going to happen. Do not wait that somebody is coming to you without that you are doing any effort to come out. To show people that you want to do, that you want to try to realize one of your dreams. This is the only chance that you really can do it, that you can materialize your dream. So practically we started to sit together with the director and the production designer because we know that we have an incredible assignment. We don't have to do just a normal story about someone, but we have to visualize the way, in our opinion, through every research that we did or we were doing, they used some specific light in order to visualize some specific scene in one specific way. Well, one of the first things that it happened to us to realize that Caravaggio didn't like any other academic painters, to do the drawing first on the canvas and after painting. But he loved to watch some models directly and painting directly on the canvas. But he was using something very special way to do it. Practically, he was not looking at the people, at the models directly. He was using a mirror. He was looking at the image, let's say the painting was of those people, it was put in the mirror someplace. They can see the image reflected of these people, and was painting. He was, of course, using natural energy, natural light during the daytime. He was putting the model near to a window or a door. They can have some kind of light in one way. He was using this mirror in order to see them. Why? I think he was using the mirror. I tried to figure out why. He wants to see an image, there's a virtual image, and it was completely reflected in opposite direction. In my mind, and I'm I know very well that I'm not an art critic, I'm not a philosopher, I'm not a psychoanalysis doctor, but I thought that those kind of research to visualize his story doesn't need only the vision of a cinematographer. You have to somehow go inside his own mind, almost to be a psychoanalyst, to try to understand his philosophy, his kind of way he was living. Why I think that he was using it's very well proved that he was using mirror. But in order to do those kind of painting, is going to have later on some kind of problem. Here you can see that Bacchus, one of the early painting, have the hand on his left. And we know the people usually were educated since the beginning to use the right hand. Today, people doesn't make any difference between right and left hand. Left the children to use their own will, wherever they feel comfortable. But it was for, particularly in a church, was always, in the way that we were educated, there were two distinctions, good and wrong, right and left, good and bad, light and shadows. The world was divided in two different parts. So the children were normally educated to write with the right hand, even if they were born to use left hand. They were forced to use right hand. In one way that everything in the school, in any place, everything has to be done in this kind of direction. So definitely this one is an image that is reflected. Not only that, but the light, because it's reflected, is coming from the left side. This is something quite normal for Caravaggio at that time. He's coming from North Italy, in Milano. Milano usually has, in compared to Rome, kind of winter feeling. There is most of the time there is cloud. You see, most of the time the light is soft. So the light coming from the window was a soft light, almost Flemish kind of light, like Vermeer, for example. So the light now with the mirror coming from the left side, making very soft the image. Somehow it has a kind of feminine feeling. Soft light coming from the left is the symbol of the feminine side of ourselves. Sharp light coming from the right is a kind of masculine way to see, as a symbolic light. One is more belong to the sun, the other one more belong to the moon. Masculine and feminine, light and shadows, sharp and soft. Practically the world was almost divided into completely, you call yin and yang. That's the way that we call it. Something very strange happened to his life. That he lost the father and the grandfather when he was 6 years old. Practically he lost the male figure on his own life. He was educated in this little town near Milano by his mother and his family. And he was, without any doubt, a very closest child, let's say. The mother noticed that he loved to do the drawing when he was a child. So when he was 12, he said for his good, that maybe the best that they can go to Milano into the studio of some kind of painter in order they can learn painting, something that he loved to do. Who is the child at 12 years old that loved to be, let's say, moved outside his own house, outside his own family, away from his mother? For Caravaggio, at 12 years old, already lost the male figure. Now almost is having another cut of the umbilical cord with his mother. He went to Milano, to the studio of Simone Pedersano, a professional painter. There's his own studio, his own followers, his own students. At that time, master and pupil, they were working together, they were eating together, they were sleeping together. it seems they almost, I think they have proved that Caravaggio was abused by Simone Petrosano when he was 12 years old. And that was something that, without any doubt, changed his own character. He felt that he was alone, abandoned, abused. While he was keep growing up, when he was 18 years old, his mother died. He doesn't have any more connection with the family, with the mother, with the father, with the town, and he thought that he wants to leave. He wants to go someplace else. He went to Rome a couple of years later, but seems that he arrived near Rome. Rome still today has the wall, the surrounding Rome. The wall that was built by an emperor. And there are doors in different positions that you can go in and out. Since they stopped outside Rome, in Via Appia Antica. Via Appia Antica at that time was the cemetery of the Roman. The Roman did not allow to have somebody buried inside the wall. The Via Appia Antica was the poor cemetery or rich cemetery, whatever, but was outside Rome. There is a story that, did I move it? Wait, yeah. That he stopped outside Rome and he was living for a while and sleeping inside the tomb. Sleeping inside the tomb has different meanings. Tomb means that you almost have a kind of feeling of premature death. Second, in the psychoanalysis, means that you want to go back inside your mother womb. You don't accept your life. There is a kind of thing that you want to start from the beginning. You want to go inside the mother earth. He was definitely suffering, very poor he was at that time. It seems that when he decided to go inside Rome, he was living under the bridge, very humid on the tomb, very humid next to the river. He started to be sick. But at the same time, his painting has a kind of luminosity. When he finally found some work into a little studio in Rome, he can start to do some painting. They not allow him to do any painting about human being. He has a kind of a facility to paint naturalistic elements like flowers, fruit, ornament elements. In the studio, he couldn't really feel free. So he was able to do this kind of painting alone when he started to live with one of his assistants called Mario Minniti, a Sicilian boy. They, without any doubt, become his assistant and his lover at the same time, a very young boy. So he was using him as a model. But what it was very, very strange, there one time, somebody was a cardinal, Cardinal Del Monte, very rich person, noticed one of his paintings that was sold just to have a little money in another studio, searched for him, and he tried to help this boy because he recognized on this kind of painting there was incredible, wonderful painting element inside. And he proposed to the young Caravaggio to say, okay, come to my house, I give you the house, your room, I give you your studio, I give you your medicine because you are sick, I give you new clothes, I give you anything you need to be an artist. Feel free. Don't have any problem about money. Don't have any problem about where you can live. Just perform and do anything you want in your heart. The best of an artist can receive is a dream. And finally, Caravaggio was able to recuperate in his own health. He probably catch malaria because the place that he was living since at that time. He recuperated in his name. He started to be better and better. But what is strange, my God, I always made a mistake. So, okay. The more his normal life was become in better levels, and the more the painting was starting to be more in shadows, less, let's say, luminosity. The shadows behind start to be more and more deep. This is the portrait of Caravaggio. This is Mario Minniti. And this one was another boy. He used the same boy. There was a new boy that, as a model, from his back or from his front. Do this kind of painting called I Musici. This is very strange. The more his normal life was become better, and the more he was using a kind of contrast between light and shadows. And but he was still using all the time natural light coming from the window. At that time, the mirror, they were not bigger than this kind of size. So mainly it was using horizontal or vertical, but that was the kind of composition they used. In my opinion, and I'm saying that I'm not a critic, an art critic or a psychoanalyst, but in my feeling that he was using the mirror in order to see the composition. Once again, as I mentioned to you, everything we see is almost what we consider the reality. Only when we select one portion of reality in one specific space, and we can create, and we are creating a kind of composition to see this composition, this kind of composition of this line, become a form of art. Very specific. If you don't have just a limitation of the space, like in any still camera, video camera or film camera, wherever, we cannot create in practically those kind of selection in the composition that we are creating of a form of art, form of a visual art expression, let's say. But suddenly his life was having such an incredible emotion, they really changed completely his own life. He witnessed the birth of Giordano Bruno. This is the movie that I made with Giovanni Montaldo, as I mentioned to you. And this is Gian Maria Volonté, great actor. And he was burned at that period by the church. And for Caravaggio was really, we have the records. The Caravaggio was there watching Giordano Bruno being burned.